recording?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Critically Acclaimed podcast. I am your host, Jason Nevin. I am accompanied by
Carson Connect,
Caden Cruzmark,
and Isaiah Klockman.
Welcome to the first episode. We don't really know what we're doing yet, but
yeah,
we'll get a good system going.
Trial and error thing, you know.
There are places out there you can't find on any map. They're not gone. They're just lost.
Welcome to Critically Acclaimed.
The show.
The Critically Acclaimed.
The Critically Acclaimed show where we talk about movies and if they are or aren't critically acclaimed.
This is episode 1, and we just got back from the theater from watching
Uncharted. Starring good old Tom Holland and Marcus Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
I'm drinking from these men.
Alright, first impressions?
Good.
It's better than we were expecting.
Yeah, I agree.
I went into this, I didn't even want to watch this. You guys dragged me into it.
Yeah, this motherfucker, he was like, you're going to have to pull fingernails off me to get me to come.
You guys are going to have to start a podcast to make me want to.
It was like, okay, but if I go to it, then we have to do the podcast thing because I don't want to go to this movie for no point at all.
Yeah. Because I thought I was not going to like this, but I actually liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was enjoyable.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to be really picky right away when it started, but I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to enjoy it.
Initial things, I just finished the Uncharted video game, so initially I was like, I'm just going to compare Tom Holland to Nathan Drake for the whole movie.
You've only played the first game, though.
Yeah, but like, you know, one video game will still give you an impression of the character. And Tom Holland, it's not a great casting in this movie. Even Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg both don't really play, they kind of just play as themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really feel like...
Yeah, they're not really transformative performances.
Both of them are very young, and this movie I think is supposed to be like a prequel.
Hey kid, a little young for a bartender, aren't you?
A little old for prom, aren't you?
It entertained me. I was expecting the dialogue to be like super clunky, but it was good. It was good enough.
I think they had great chemistry, the main cast.
Both you turn your keys clockwise at the same time.
Thanks a lot. You almost got me killed.
Clockwise, Sully!
Well, it was 50-50, so I made a guess.
Clearly.
So there's a dynamic throughout the film.
I like the
Yeah,
thematic
it's-
statements that this movie gives. It's like,
It's trying to be like, you can't trust anyone, and so the moment that they start, you know, thinking that they can trust each other, like one of them kind of is like, oh wait, no, but I can't trust you, and then they kind of like fall apart.
that
It's
is
like
that is kind of a cliche
a
in
dynamic that
these
we
like
have.
adventure movies where they're all after the same thing. It's like you can't trust anybody because they'll start.
It was like
backstabbing you
a
every
modern
second.
pirate movie.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones movies, which is probably a big influence on the games.
Or Pirates of the Caribbean, even though they quoted it.
They mentioned
Nuns.
Jack
Why'd it have to
Sparrow.
be nuns? That shit was hilarious.
Yes, it was kind of. I laughed at it because I was taken aback, like what? And then later on, I remembered, oh yeah, because he's from orphanage.
Oh,
I didn't get
I
it
thought
at
it was a
all.
completely random line.
I didn't catch that.
I thought I was just
Like he has a fear of he has a fear of nuns because he grew up in a. What is it? Did you catch that?
I don't think they got that across that well.
The delivery was weird. Like,
I was thinking,
nuns. Why does it always have to be nuns? I'm like,
if you grew up with nuns, you either like really religious or you just rebelled and.
Everything in here. Why the map?
It's the biggest treasure that's never been found.
5 billion easy.
But it's just a story.
I beg to differ.
I was thinking Tom Holland looks nothing like Nick Drake in the games.
He's way too young for this role.
Baby face.
He's definitely like you don't take him as seriously.
Although if you don't like take it as an adaptation of the games, he's a charismatic protagonist.
Yes.
I was gonna say when you guys brought up how you think you guys like he didn't fit the character. I have only seen Tom Holland in the Spider-Man movies and this one, and I thought he was fitting. There's just something definitely the charismatic.
I don't know if I've seen any other Tom Holland movies.
I
either,
haven't
but-
either.
I saw the one with the guy who played as It.
What?
Oh, Andy Scar. The Devil All the Time on
Yeah.
Netflix. I've been wanting to see
That was
that.
pretty good, but I feel like he's playing Peter Parker in this Uncharted.
He
film.
does have one of those like always playing the same kind of type of character in a lot of his movies. Doesn't have a lot of acting range. I mean, like he's got range and emotion. Like he can do powerful emotional scenes, but
Is it the lines they're giving him, or is it just him? Like, are they writing for him?
He's still young, so maybe we might see a movie down the line where he can show himself in like somebody else's.
if there's one thing I noticed or that I was thinking, like, there's a scene where in the beginning of the movie where he pickpockets a guy by bumping into him, and he turns around and he goes, "Oh, sorry," and then he turns around and he's got the keys from the guy in his hand. And when he turned around and he said, "Oh, sorry," I don't know if it's because he's so young or if it's his line delivery, but I legitimately thought like he was like sorry, you know. Whereas like I feel like Nathan Drake would have said it more like sarcastically, like, "Oh, sorry, man," you know, like turn around. Like, I don't know if he sounds like too sincere in some ways. Like, what is it? At the very beginning, they have the cold open where it's later in the movie, and then they flash back, and it's where it's the plane scene. And he punches a guy, and the guy like flies in the air out of the plane. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I don't know if that's what Nathan Drake would have said. Like, in the games, and like I get this is a prequel, so he probably isn't used to killing people, but like in the games, you're straight up like shooting people down and like beating them and snapping necks and stuff. I mean, this is a PG-13 movie, but like, I don't know. I just
Yeah, they're very careful about showing blood.
It's very much a
It was
PG.
it was very obvious, like when that guy got his neck
the most
cut,
bloodless
it was like, yeah.
throat cut since Black Panther.
What's the rating on the Uncharted games? It's R, right? Is it T?
It's
M.
It's rated.
I mean,
it's
I'm
rated
sorry.
T, I believe, not
It
M.
was rated.
There's no F-bombs in the first game, and you shoot people and there's like a little bit of blood splatter, but I don't think it's to an extremely violent degree. It's not like Mortal Kombat or anything.
Okay.
I mean,
But
he does
I
say-
don't know.
Are we allowed to swear in this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, he does say shit a lot in the games, and that kind of cracked me up when I heard Tom Holland first say it in the movie. And I was like, I just heard Spider-Man say shit.
Oh, he says shit in the Spider-Man movie
I
a couple
guess.
times.
We didn't get to hear his F-bomb in the No Way Home, but
I don't know.
I can't discuss that. Different.
Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection's rated T.
That's what I play. That contains the first 3 games, and I've played the first one in there.
I have not played any of them.
Yeah. What Jason? You said you've played. You think?
Yeah, I played a couple. I don't remember which ones.
And you've played the 4th
The
and
entirety of the 4th and like a tiny snippet of the 3rd.
I didn't totally buy that he was like a god at parkour right off the beginning. I was like, okay, maybe he was doing this a lot in his childhood, but at first I was like, okay, he's instantly good at parkour. All right.
That was their attempt to make it like the video game, because I know a lot of the game is like
centered around like him climbing on
Movement.
things. And,
insane platforming.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I was thinking that's why they had his workout scene in the beginning before the auction heist.
Sure.
So let us know, hey,
Well, yeah, because they had to explain that, like, why is this bartender so freakishly good at swinging around, grabbing ropes? Always found his hands on those ropes somehow. Probably could have died many times.
yo, when that black lady jumped from one ship and just grabbed the swinging rope, I was like, what? Okay. All right.
It's video
They
game.
even have Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg do the same thing. He swings around and kicks a guy off the ship.
You'd think
Yeah,
he has
that
more of
was-
a dad bod.
Although, I will say, Tom Holland doesn't, like, I can't imagine him, like, fist fighting anybody in the movie. Like, he doesn't seem as strong. I don't think he felt extremely strong in the movie. Like,
Yeah, his
like a
punches
lot of
didn't
it,
weight.
a lot of it felt like a judo jiu-jitsu or whatever, like where, like, you trip people and like use
Very
their weight,
evasive.
use their force against them, you know. You're not like punching them really hard to fight. I don't know. That's how I was seeing a lot of the action.
And Drake in the games is like a heavy hitter, so
Yeah.
maybe it can be blamed that he's younger in this.
I haven't seen it, but there was apparently like a short film a long time ago, or 3-4 years ago, a fan-made short film of Uncharted where they cast Nathan Fillion. I don't know if you guys know who Nathan Fillion is. He was in a TV show called Firefly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I haven't seen Firefly. I've seen a little bit of it, an episode.
We had to watch a lot of it in a class.
Yeah. And I mean, just he looks a lot more like a Nathan Drake figure, but he probably wouldn't bring in the type of audience.
That Tom Holland.
Doesn't have the name.
Yeah, especially after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's definitely a studio thing where it's like.
Plus, he's a lot older now.
It's like in BoJack Horseman when BoJack does that really serious audition for Secretariat, and they're like, "Oh, we think you got the part," and then they get a call and they're like, "We can get Andrew Garfield. Oh man, we got Andrew Garfield," and they don't even make him audition. I feel like that could be what happened, where they were looking for a good part for Nathan Drake, and then they're like, "Wait, we can get Tom Holland." Well, screw it. Just put him in the film.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg was their first choice, and they're like, "Oh, Tom Holland? Okay, he's silly now."
I would not be surprised.
I do know before the movie there was controversy that there was somebody that other people saw a perfect fit for Nathan, but then they chose Tom Holland over it. I forgot that actor's name.
It might have been Nathan Fillion. They made a short film. I should look it up. It's on YouTube.
I feel like he'd be too old now, though.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where in the
And I don't
Uncharted
know.
storyline you want to tell it, because
Yeah.
isn't the newest one, or the Uncharted 4 is when he's a lot older.
Oh, this is gonna suck!
I was really impressed by all of the various set pieces that they did in this movie. What really got me engaged was the auction scene, because I remember that from I've seen gameplay of Uncharted 3, and that always stood out. I might be wrong, but that always stood out, but to me wow, that's a really cool setting for an action sequence, and they pulled it off really well.
They had a lot of fun action settings,
Yes.
set pieces and stuff.
You know when they lifted up the boats?
Yeah.
I feel like those would crumble to pieces right off the bat.
I was saying
don't know how
similar,
they-
yeah.
But I don't know how else they get those. They actually do have boats like
I
that.
feel like they if it was 2 helicopters lifting those giant boats, then maybe I'd believe it a little bit more. But yeah, it is such an interesting visual. You got these giant boats.
It's
and
they're
then
like
these
airships
little.
in Mario.
Yeah.
It was really cool. That was probably one of my favorite scenes, but also I hated that they were destroying the ships.
It's
with
the one
their
line where
greed.
they're like, "Those boats are priceless." The
then
gold
they
is
also-
worth millions. These boats are priceless. So you're thinking don't damage the boats. And the main villain's like, put a bullet in one of my boats, and I put a bullet in you. And yeah, that goes out the window pretty quick.
That might have been their excuse to start out with the swords.
Oh yeah.
I guess. I leaned over to you and I'm like, this is a horror movie for archaeologists.
Oh, you screamed that out in the theater.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear it?
I didn't hear.
Oh, you didn't see
that
it?
part.
It was, dude,
That's funny.
the music's so loud you can't hear
Yeah, I guess,
anything.
yeah. Oh man, I
gotta-
could just hear you every time the boat chipped off a couple pieces. You're like, oh!
It was brutal. That's the most gore in the movie.
Okay, I need to talk about
It's not a family-friendly movie.
It's not a boat-friendly movie.
Antonio Banderas' character. He's the main villain, or the main villain. You're supposed to think he's the main villain.
He's the
until
MacGuffin villain.
Yeah. He dies in the middle of the film.
Whoa! Just kidding.
We already started
spoilers.
spoiling. More spoilers.
Past 10 minutes. These are the deeper.
Because we have a twist villain.
Right.
And she has her main weapon is this like curved knife that she like puts around people's
Yeah.
necks. And there's a couple times where like she slits a person's throat, but it's off screen, so like
Right.
like you don't see it, and it's like okay, it's a PG-13 movie, like whatever. But then they kill the main guy. And it cuts off screen, and you're like, okay, the same thing. But then it cuts back to him, like with a shocked look on his face, and like there might be like a little line on his
Yeah.
neck.
There's a red Sharpie line on his
Yeah,
neck.
yeah, and that's it. There's like
Yes.
no blood. He's like, oh, and then he falls over, and then like you see like a little bit more blood the next time that they
Two
like,
drops.
yeah,
That's
Really annoying.
And
He was
gash.
it's the most bloodless slit throat I've ever seen.
a vampire trained him before hands. That's why.
Maybe we're just really used to really bloody movies.
Yeah,
now.
man.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
Quentin,
nutty.
if Quentin Tarantino saw
Yes.
this, he
We
would-
should slit someone's throat just so we get what it's supposed to look like out of the way.
Yeah. What was that?
my cup just splashed all over my face, man.
Money
like
shot.
a Django Unchained blood clot in the face. I was gonna say. Oh, I wanted to ask Google a question to see how accurate this fun action movie is. How do they get ships out of the? How do I say that?
How do they move shipwrecks?
Oh yeah. How do they move shipwrecks to museums?
That's a good question.
I don't know where they're going. Freeze-dried shipwreck to move to museum.
That one's frozen though. This one was sitting in the middle of a tropical climate.
Yes,
No
those-
deterioration on the wood, which
I thought it was fun with that ship scene. How they had like the two boats swinging at each other, and people jumping back and forth
It was
between
like
them.
an actual pirate
Yeah.
movie.
It made it fun. It was like Sky Pirates. It's what
Yeah.
a live-action Treasure Planet could learn from this movie, if Disney ever decides to do that, which they probably will.
I keep thinking that's the one that they should do
That'd be
live
cool.
action.
That's
It
a
would be
good
cool.
ass
I
movie.
would. That would be like a Disney live-action remake that I'd want to see.
I'll never know. I'll never know how they move ships. I'd have to watch a
They
3-minute
put
video.
nets under them, and they get a team of diggers. And then you think, oh, they're gonna put it on the water. No.
They just
They got those ships out of there.
they just
fast.
drive it underwater.
Yeah, they
They
did.
have a helicopter that can fly through trees.
There was no question that these would fall apart at all, lifting off.
There was a lot of like logical fallacies in this movie. Like, I mean, nothing like totally distracting, but like, why is this happening? And why is just because it's just the movie from one set piece to another. I don't know. I can't think of like clear examples, but there were a couple times where I was like, what's happening?
I was like, did these guys really make this elaborate puzzle just to hide all this? And
I thought some of the puzzles were pretty well done.
oh yeah, but it's like
Oh,
so
like
elaborate.
The
that's like a
crosses-
critique on every treasure hunting
National
movie.
Treasure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the scene where he finds out that the keys are the compasses, and he puts them together, and it's like, how the hell did he know, like exactly where to put them on a map? Like
I
mean,
was thinking. Okay, so he puts he puts one down and then another down, and then he like points them together, and he's like, "This is the spot." But couldn't it also be this is like the spot?
Yeah, I was
like on the
thinking that
opposite
too.
side.
there
maybe
must
it
be
may-
some mathematical.
They might have been like too short to get there.
Maybe. I don't know. Like a circle should
There were
be
islands
symmetrical
in the middle.
and
Well,
Go both
the
ways.
islands wasn't like.
yeah.
It would be just
Yeah,
like,
I-
oh,
I-
they just dumped. I mean, maybe they could.
If I was to flip a coin between the two, on like if I was like, oh well, which one would it be? I'd probably go for the island. You know.
I think it's that the colors on the bottom lined up too, and it was like alternating.
Oh.
I guess if you inverted, it would still be the same colors. If it's red, blue, then
I know. I don't know how much is true about the whole Magellan thing either.
Magellan.
I think he did die due to cannibals in the Philippines. if I
Yes.
recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Did I
anything
miss the whole
about
thing?
What?
No.
Who's Magellan?
Just a
Magellan is the.
Presumably the first person who circumnavigated the globe, but I do think he actually died.
He did-
It was
he
like
did
cannibals
die.
That
in
was
the
a real
Philippines.
thing.
Yes.
There was some other guy that died due to cannibals.
I don't
But
know.
if they were looking for gold and it was so easy to find. You think they would have found it by now, right?
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Trees were covering that big hole.
Yeah.
It's just so perfectly
Probably a
placed there for a
Big ass
helicopter.
forest, needle in a haystack type of thing.
I'm gonna do research and find out what's true.
Surprising to like fallen animals that fall into that hole. Be
It was-
like
it
dead
was-
monkeys and shit on them boats.
Yeah.
For a swing.
There was like no deterioration on those ships.
Oh.
That would have that's like
It was just dusty.
yeah.
I think the wood looked a little bit decomposed.
I mean, yeah, but it's still
Yeah.
intact.
Yeah.
Like the wood isn't rotting, it's splitting
Wonderfully
at the steps.
preserved.
Wait, how did they get there in the first place?
They go through a cave.
Oh, yeah.
I would
and then
think
you
in
find-
a cave it would be, but there's the big hole, so I was like, it's still exposed to like all the,
Yeah.
maybe not the sun, but like the climate.
Wouldn't somebody just like
So
go
some-
boating and like find that cave? I
Well,
feel
no,
like-
he had to dive under.
He had to dive under.
Oh.
But then those like the bad guys chasing
They
after
just blew
them.
a hole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. They blew a hole in it. Yeah.
Well, that solves that one.
When he was going through the
Nobody went cave diving.
most of
ever
this movie
in
felt like
400
Indiana
years.
Jones.
Yeah,
Like when he got on the ship, it made me think like Goonies. You know, like with the One-Eyed Willie ship
Yeah.
and stuff and
I did think that there was going to be like something where they take some gold and then some ships and then there's
yeah, like a booby trap
I was
on the ship.
expecting that. There weren't many booby traps in that movie, other than like the church.
There were
catacomb.
two specific ones. There was the twisted clockwise, and then it shoots at Mark Wahlberg.
And
yeah.
if
He's
you
like, I
don't,
had a 50-50 shot.
And he can't read because he's old.
Yeah, and then the other one where like, what was
they're
it?
in the underground.
And he's like, this arrow literally is pointing this way. We gotta go this way. And he steps forward, and like a bunch of spears shoot out, but they
That-
don't kill him.
That arrow symbol meant arrows. I don't guess. They look like arrows to me.
I was thinking like that's a poorly. That was a very flawed trap if he could step on
could
it and
step
just
on
see
it and it
spears shoot out, but like not
Yeah.
get killed by any of
It was a
them.
deterrent.
Built to kill. Well, I was gonna say built to kill the person in front of you.
Yeah.
But then they'd step on it, and then they
It was like built the
just
person.
hope they don't step on
The
it.
person who doesn't step on it
It's for
steps.
people in a
goes-
hurry. Is what it was for.
Running from nuns.
This is a funnier movie than I was expecting.
Oh, I would laughed out loud a few times.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, quite a few.
I want to say about like thematically, I don't know. They're in Spain, right? In the first like
Yes.
hour.
I think so.
I really like the idea of them like going on a treasure hunt in modern Spain, and then like they have like all this old like centuries old stuff, and they're searching for it, and it's like, you know, like there's like a dance,
The rave.
like yeah, there's like a rave party, like you know, there's like
Yeah.
a dance house. I forget what they're called. Like just like
Clubhouse.
yeah, like a club,
Yeah.
like, and it's like right next to.
Oh.
Like a centuries old like puzzle or like church stuff, and you know the church leads to like blah blah blah. They go down a tunnel, then they end up in a Papa John's.
John's and
Yo,
Bob.
before they went to Bob John's, I saw the product placement. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
But I wasn't laughing at the product placement. I mean it's obviously product placement, but like the idea of them like they're going on this like century old treasure hunt, and then they just end up in a Papa John's. I think that's hilarious.
I didn't see any Papa John's style Uncharted pizzas getting
And then they
released
have a-
nowadays. Like,
Oh, they
Yeah.
should have.
yeah, Little Caesars releasing the Batman pizza. Why can't we get the Uncharted pizza?
Yeah.
Where they position the toppings to look like Tom Holland or something like that.
Fucking map.
They-
Do a treasure
they
map
have like
on
the
the pizza.
they have like the crucifixes.
The breadsticks are
They,
compass.
they just make a map for the delivery person to like go to your house
Yeah.
on
He's
the
like,
pizza.
God damn, I'm under Spain and I gotta deliver this fucking pizza.
The action scene in the Papa John's was like really funny.
That was fun.
It was really cool.
What was the scene before that? That was an action. The bar fight. That was my
Yes.
favorite fight.
the Scottish guy.
The Scottish guy was funny.
He was
yeah.
funny.
Okay, so there's that keyhole in the Papa John's, and you're telling me no one ever thought to try to like put something
Well,
in
they
it?
put a glass case
I know, but
over it.
before that,
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it sticks out,
Maybe,
but it's also like,
maybe
oh,
somebody
this is
stuck
Spain.
their
I don't
finger
know.
in it and
No,
was
but
like,
like,
nothing happened.
when you go to Europe, there's like those are like weird idiosyncrasies of it, right?
intricacies.
Yeah. Well, like you just
Well, there's so much history in Spain, as you mentioned, that it wouldn't be surprising if somebody like opened in a shop in like a Papa John's in this case in like a former museum or something with historical significance, and they're like, oh, this will just be part of the like
yeah.
experience.
I always
at our
think of
store.
like in Cairo they have the great pyramids and like the statue of
The Sphinx?
the Sphinx, and then like you do a 180. And there's a KFC like right across from it, and it's just like this huge, like ancient, like thousands of years old, and then there's just a chain restaurant next door. It's hilarious, and like that's how Europe is. Like you go to England or Spain or France, there's all this like ancient history, and then like, but they also like contemporary businesses, and they're just people living their everyday lives. That's the rave scene was like so impactful, and they're like, oh yeah. That's just how they live, you know? They live with history, but they live their lives like regular people. So maybe I'm thinking too deeply into it. But
No. And of course, I think like a fitting name for this kind of club would be like Hell in Latin or whatever.
Oh yeah, like
It's just part of that.
Infernum.
Yeah.
That'd be that's
That is
cool.
a good club name.
Dance
From
Inferno.
the hell.
Yeah. What were some other cool things or bad things? Do you think that this is an accurate, like, do you feel like it has the soul of Uncharted?
I think the script has the soul of Uncharted.
Yes, treasure hunting.
I think Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg don't feel like the characters.
Yeah, I think that's the only complaint that the game community could make. Because honestly, the game is just like you on a treasure hunt.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
the movie was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
Solving puzzles, and that's what the movie was.
I don't think it fell into as many pitfalls that a lot of other video game movies fall
Yeah.
into.
Well, what it has going for it is that the video games are already very cinematic. They're more movies than games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
They're like interactive movies. is
Yeah.
how I would
Yeah.
interpret
But like,
it.
I mean, even though they have a plot and they do have like cutscenes and like movie, level stuff, they still are video games where like a lot of it is just exploring caves and stuff. And a lot of video game movies have trouble getting past that because you can't just copy that right into a movie because then it's kind of boring.
Right.
Because a lot of that joy is from figuring it out yourself. So you got to fill that in with stuff. And I think they did a good job of filling that in. I don't know if like there were more action set pieces than in an average Uncharted game, but it felt like they were packing a lot of it into it.
I think it was
And I
very
think-
visually engaging without
Yes.
being like too too fast.
Yeah.
Um,
I should note the pacing. Pacing was good.
and they had their share of like more quiet, slow moments.
Yeah.
As long and had to build up of atmosphere that sometimes video game movies don't really have that.
What did you guys think of the whole starting in the middle and then flashing back and then going?
I was gonna ask
there?
about that because like that shiny red car is like it's like Chekhov's gun because you recognize it from the intro, and then you come back like later and you see that red car, and he says, "Oh, I don't want to scratch on this car." And I'm like, "Oh, we know what's gonna happen." But do you guys think that it's better with or without that like hook?
Would have you preferred it to be like cutting back and forth between the girl that was in the plane and Tom Holland outside of it, or?
I was about to mention that part of what makes that scene in the middle so great is because in the opening you only see the perspective of Tom, and that's what makes it so glorious in the middle.
It was
you
really
get to finally
awesome.
see everything unfold.
Like people at the beginning start flying out of the plane and just like he has to duck them, and
I really
towards the middle, you're like, oh, that person got kicked out of the plane right there.
It is a great intro to the character because it starts with a close up of his necklace and then it zooms out and you see the whole character.
I do think it's a little goofy that like he starts out like asleep basically, and then is like, oh shoot, I'm outside of a plane. Like did he get knocked out?
I don't think it was goofy.
I don't know.
Like it's just like that thing on his leg holding him to it.
Yeah.
And what was it?
When he was flipping over the cargo things, and like when he stopped, and you could tell he was CGI, and I was like,
Yeah, it didn't look
I didn't
terribly
notice it
great.
too much.
But like, it really establishes well like this is a video game. You know, it's
Yeah.
not real life.
Yeah.
Going back to the whole finds his hands finds ropes magically.
Yeah.
Kicked off the ship and it's like, oh, there's a rope.
I don't think they ever fully jumped the shark in the movie. I think the tone felt like the amount of exaggerated action that was going on felt like it fit to what the movie was trying to
Yes.
get across.
There's a lot of climbing in this movie. I especially like the part where the helicopter is carrying the ship and Mark Wahlberg has to climb up the rafters to get to the helicopter. That was cool.
I know it's funny how those two pilots could not take Mark Wahlberg on with a bag full of gold that weighs a lot. When they're in the ship and Tom Holland picked up that gold shield thing, I was like, that weighs way more than he's acting like it should.
They throw the gold around like it's candy.
The bag of gold. Okay, like he throws the whole bag of gold at that one girl so that she like falls out and like hits the water, you know. But did he have to throw the whole bag?
He could have just thrown one thing.
Like
just tie it.
honestly, like start like chucking like
Chucking it
pieces
all.
of gold at
One
her
doesn't
face.
work.
I bet one
Maybe
would like.
two.
I bet like a gold bar to the face.
Well, wasn't it like the backpack was like dangling off of that railing? I don't know what it's called.
The
Like the
edge,
landing
the
thing.
landing
Yeah,
gear,
but then he reached out to grab it, and you were thinking like, oh, he's not gonna save Tom Holland. Like,
Well, it's like a symbolic thing.
Yeah.
Like he realizes
chooses.
human life is
Yeah.
more important than money. I appreciate that, but
character arc.
yes,
Yeah.
but logically it doesn't make a lot of sense.
What?
Like
I
you,
don't know, I
you,
feel
you
like-
honestly thought his character was like not gonna do that. And
Oh
just,
no, like no, I mean
or you're talking about throwing the whole bag.
yes, I mean I think that'd be a better idea, but like it wouldn't have been immediate, and Tom Holland was in trouble. I mean Nick Drake. See, that's
guess.
that's the problem. You see him as Tom Holland, not as Nick Drake.
No, my bad.
That was my only nitpicky thing. Was gold is heavy, and they're just like
Yeah.
Clearly not real gold. In this
fool's gold.
Fool's gold.
The next,
they just
The
they bring
sequel-
it back and it's all fake.
Oh, what did you think of? What's that guy? I don't know the guy's name, but what did you think of the Nick Drake's voice actor making a cameo?
That was interesting. Yeah, I liked it. You know,
It was.
what is it? They climb out of the water,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What happened to you two?" And he's like, "Fell out of a car that was falling out of a plane." He's like, "Well, that happened to me once," and I didn't initially realize that it was the voice actor for Nathan Drake. But when he said that, I was like, "That's a really weird line." and,
Oh.
and then you're like, "Oh wait, I get it," because that's the guy.
Well, I didn't get it, but people were laughing around, and I'm like, I leaned over to Kate like, I don't get it.
It should have been obvious to
Did
me,
you
but
get
I
it?
didn't get it
I
right away.
did. You could. I mean, I
Yeah.
could tell from his voice. I played the fourth game, but
Oh.
I was trying to. No, I'm just now thinking back to like other movies that have done that, where it's a voice actor for a certain game or show comes onto a different one, and there's like this callback to them and like the original, and you kind of just have to fit that in for something like this. It is Uncharted. After
Sure,
Nar-
but I like the kind of cameo where you can't tell it's a cameo. And this one, it felt
Yeah.
like if you didn't get the joke,
It'd
you
be a
didn't-
weird,
you didn't get
weird
it.
thing.
Yeah, it's like, what does that mean?
Because narratively, it'd be like, what the heck? Like, you fell out of a car, falling out of a. What are you talking about, man? You like they even.
I mean, it kind of works, but like the tone is is
Yeah.
like clearly this is supposed to be like an inside joke.
I feel like since it's based on a video game, it can break that rule.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean that's fine, but I just
Is considering the people who don't know it, and
Like
don't
me.
get the reference,
like
would it, make it wouldn't be as it would be a weird scene, to them.
No.
Have you guys played the Lego Marvel games and like every now and then you find Stan Lee? It's like if you didn't know Stan Lee, who's this old guy you find?
Same thing in the Marvel movies.
Just the
Yeah.
movies. This old guy must mean something.
what does
Maybe
it
in the
mean?
next Nathan
You like have a whole
Is that
wall of,
Marvel
like,
himself?
Who is this guy? His name keeps popping up. Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee.
But there are good Stanley cameos that where he's just kind of a random guy that pops
Yeah.
up, says something, and it doesn't feel out of place.
Like maybe he works.
Like the part where
somewhere.
he's the librarian and he has the
Yeah,
headphones on.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite.
Like
scenes.
that's funny even if you don't know who Stanley is. Or in Spider-Man 3, when Peter Parker's like not sure if he wants to be Spider-Man, and then Stanley walks up to him and he's like, one man can make a difference, and like he walks away, and it's like, oh, maybe it's just him reacting to like how
people in New York
feel.
are not that nice.
And that's what I was laughing at the start of the film. It said New York, and I was like, Tom Holland in New York, it's Spider-Man.
That was loud.
Was swinging from swings.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know if people-
Swinging around the museum.
In the video, you wouldn't be able to tell. There's a tin table in front of us, so I just set my cup down on a tin table.
Dropped it on the ground.
So that's what that.
Oh yeah, you're messing up the audio. Like you're trying to have conversations.
Hey, Spider-Man.
I just
Did him
know-
falling off? What did you say?
All right, you keep that thought. I just noticed on the cup that he's in his full outfit.
That was cool.
Yeah. So in the game, in the movie, for most of the movie, he's just wearing his like gray shirt and.
It was like a white
pants.
shirt sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it started out white actually.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they went to, when all three
Get
of
all
them
dirty.
went to Spain, and it was an all white shirt.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, why is he wearing an all white shirt?
But it's a big thing in the game where like you pick weapons off enemies that you shoot, and so like when they're on the boat, he goes over to an enemy, grabs the gun holsters that he wears throughout the games.
Yeah, that's like his.
Yeah, that's like his
attire
his
the whole game.
outfit, and it's like, oh, he's doing that thing he does in the game, and now he has his full costume.
He drew that gun like he's done it before. It was so weird. I was
I
like,
was kind
whoa.
of thinking when he put the holster on, it was kind of like he is now the
Oh,
treasure
yeah.
hunter.
Yeah.
He is Nathan
Now
Drake.
he is Nathan.
He did.
Drake.
I did
Previously,
notice
he was helping Sully, and then he tried finding the entire treasure on himself.
Maybe it's like he started as a nice little kid, and then it's like, now I'm shooting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was natural. I was just thinking like he didn't like the gun. Him pulling the gun out kind of came out of nowhere. He'd never
Yeah,
shot
it
anybody
was
the whole
really,
movie.
Like,
I mean,
quick.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh,
Yeah.
here, because there's a gun.
That's why it's a holster. It's there to be accessed quickly.
Oh, sure.
You
I'm
said that this
thinking
is like
this
an
is
amalgamation
tied
of-
in mostly
With
to
the
the third
To
game.
the third?
Yeah, not step for step, but like a lot of the elements.
Does he have a brother in the game?
He
Yeah.
does, that's in the fourth game.
Okay, 'cause
I
I
haven't
didn't
heard of
remember him having a brother in the game.
I don't
In
know
the
if I
first
should
one,
spoil
they
the
don't
next
mention
movie.
him. Yeah, there's a 2 after credits scenes.
Spoilers. They kind of ruined the ending for me.
I
Personally.
know, it was just, yeah.
It's just immediately like, oh, we want to do a sequel.
And then
Okay.
they have an entire, like, it's not even just like a tiny 10-second step, it's like a final, like, little scene at the end, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're starting the entire next movie. That's what
Yeah,
I was
it could
hoping.
be literally an opening scene to another
Yes.
movie. Which is weird. Like usually
It was a little too much.
it's
yeah.
it's not really that great of a teaser. In all honesty, like it's just the cliffhanger to that is that they see something, they're probably surrounded by people, and then it cuts to the rest of the credits. Mm-hmm. It's like
Honestly, I mean, that's okay, but
I like the second teaser trailer better,
But
where it's
the-
like
the
his
first-
his brother's alive.
I hate that.
That is
Because
true.
it leaves-
They should have saved it. For
It
the
leaves
next
no
movie.
mystery.
Yeah.
Because the whole time you're like, okay, did his brother really die? What
wasn't-
happened to
I
his
wasn't
brother?
asking that. Once Sully said that he died, I was like, okay, he died, and then I stopped questioning it.
Well,
But you have to see it to believe it sometimes, and you're like, it's obvious.
So he's gonna
that-
see, like, where's he gonna go to see his brother die?
Well, he's obviously. No, I
I think
mean,
they
like,
definitely
sold
sold
they
their
don't
bag
show
on
it.
that one.
well,
I mean, they don't like. They literally, the filmmakers don't show what happened. So
Oh,
it's-
they don't do a
It's
flashback.
easy for them to say he died and then bring him back, like, but they don't even leave any mystery to it, and you don't even really dwell on it much. You just know that that something happened, and then right at the end of the movie, before it even ends, the last line before this teaser is, "That was my last piece of gum." Apparently, I didn't get it at first.
Oh yeah, neither
I
of
think
us.
it was a
did.
callback
I didn't
to-
realize it was
it
a
was-
piece of
yeah,
gum. I
right
thought it
there.
was like some sort of like written scroll
Like a
or
little
something
note
like
or
that.
something.
Or I
Oh, I knew
was
it
thinking
was
for
gum, yeah.
I was thinking for a second, like, what is that? The cork to like one of the wine bottles he opened. Drake's like an alcoholic in this movie, but it's so weird because it's Tom Holland. He's like so young.
I was thinking that's kind of like a callback to when his brother left him. You know, he's like, and make sure you split it. Oh, that was my last piece. It's like, oh.
I would not ever, but I don't remember that. I just remember that he was chewing gum like near the beginning of the movie.
I remember in the flashback he's chewing gum and he says something about the last.
Well, yeah, his
piece.
brother gives it to him when they both break in. He's like, okay, make sure you split it. It's the last piece.
Oh, okay. Anyway, after that stupid bubblegum callback, like not even 10 seconds later,
Then it's the opening scene to the next movie, or what feels like an opening.
they're in
scene
a
to the
little
next
prison, or like
It's just
we're
like
in
a
a
bar.
prison. Is it?
The prison one was the
second after
Oh.
credit scene, wasn't it?
yeah, it was the second credits.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because then it went to the
Yeah.
bar and they walk in. Tom
And
Holland
there's
does
the
a
eye
deal.
patch guy
with
who
the-
probably is in one of the video games.
isn't that the second one?
No.
No, that was the first after credit scene.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't like. You turn to the right. There's, assumedly, Nick Drake's brother, and he's all long-haired and crazy, and he's writing postcards.
Maybe.
Ruined it.
Yeah, it's like
What-
if when the audience watched the second, they'd be like, "Oh, his brother," or they're like, "Hey, we knew that already."
Exactly. They should have like been like
They could have gone in.
maybe the
off
next
it.
treasure hunt they find like fallen notes from his brother, and it's like, is my brother still alive? Is
Yeah,
this
it-
somebody who took my brother's notes? And then
As-
boom.
Absolutely no mystery. It'd be like if at the end of like the original Star Wars, and like immediately after the ceremony, Darth Vader turns the camera, is like, "There's something I need to tell Luke Skywalker." You're
He
like,
has a stepmom.
I need to tell my son. It kind of ruins the whole.
And-
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm not a big.
Spoilers again.
I'm not a big fan of
You just
today's
spoiled Star Wars. Bro.
today's media and like the whole hype thing going on with like how there needs to be this mystery that they like have to hype people up, like with the new Spider-Man movies, like, oh, who's gonna show up, and like with I see it a lot with Marvel movies. I see it a lot with other movies nowadays. Like they'll try and like create a mystery to get people in theaters, and it's this big hype up thing. And I don't know. I'm starting to prefer
What do you
like
mean?
like
They
just
leave,
say what you want to say, Caden.
It's like end credit scenes. What he's saying, it's like they're often like build up
Teasing
to
you
some other bigger
something.
story.
Yeah.
and it's always like, oh, okay, like now you got to come to the next one to find out, and now you got to come to the next. And I'd prefer, like, now that I know that Drake's brother is alive, now they can do something with the story with his brother rather than in the next movie teasing me the whole time on like is he alive? Is he gonna be
The foreplay.
and then like at the end of the movie, oh, he's alive. Now like for the last 20 minutes of the movie, we can see them playing around with, oh, now he's alive. You know,
Like the whole second movie could be just them discovering his brother at the end.
yeah. Like I would rather see a movie where like we know that he's alive at the beginning, and like, you know, we eventually get to meet him maybe after the first act, and then like they can do more with it than just teasing the audience with something that like if they give us like a little clue, like maybe he's alive, I would be very disappointed if he wasn't. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
that
Like
makes-
you're automatically like once you start getting teased about it, you're like, he's alive, right?
I was thinking what's going to bring people back into the theaters is that now, what's the
There's-
next big adventure?
There's just a lot of movies nowadays that are trying to tease their audience into keeping watching to the next movie,
I
the
just
next one, and I get a little annoyed with that.
yeah, I don't like the end credit scene thing. I'll let Marvel do it, but don't bring it into other movies. I don't want it to be
Yeah.
every single movie thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't like it when movies have like teasers at the end of it. Like just have it be a self-contained thing. You don't gotta.
It's
I already
what's
like
next?
what.
Are you gonna put a whole second movie at the end of the credits?
Yeah, it's like
That's what I was hoping.
I already know. I already know by the end of the movie if I like what you're doing or not.
Like,
I
while
don't
the credits
need like.
roll, you have to go piss.
I don't need like a cliffhanger to
Yeah,
tell me
snacks, yeah.
what part 2 is. Like if I want to see part 2, I'm gonna see it. You don't need to give me a fucking. I don't like it.
Hey, put him down, boys.
What is that thing on your face?
Yeah, puberty's right around the corner, kid. You can grow your own.
Thought it got a little too jokey, the dialogue. Like,
Sometimes.
yeah. So, okay, guys, let's get serious.
I knew it was gonna be that way, but from the trailers.
I don't think there was
so
ever
I
a
wasn't too
scene that was like
surprised.
100% serious. Was there?
Any scenes that were 100%.
Whenever someone betrayed somebody.
What was
Yeah.
what was the most serious scene in the movie?
You didn't tell me that my brother was dead?
Oh,
Yeah.
when Tom Holland is crying.
You made me
Does he
think
cry
I
in
was
the
looking for my brother too. He was
single
starting to
tear.
cry.
Oh, the single tear.
Oh,
When
the
that-
The
innocent.
sexy cry.
We're in that room with the salt, and the chick's like, I can't trust you.
Oh, dude, the cat. Every time the cat was on
yeah.
screen, we'd hear "Aww" from all the
in the
girls.
back. Okay, when the cat showed up in like the first after credits scene, it literally sounded like a choir just went oh. But it was just all these girls behind us going oh, but like it was like angelic, like harmony, like all of them had like pitch perfect.
It was
tune.
like a sitcom.
Casting.
They
Instead
literally
of a
put
laugh
that in there
track.
just for girls.
Instead of a laugh track, it's an awe track.
No, that's what they do.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they put that in the audience.
I think they did try to
make-
appeal to all audiences. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No blood.
Oh,
Still
man.
violent.
We need
Whoa.
this to appeal to females. We're like, give him a cat.
We need cute
Give 'em a
cats.
cat.
We need Tom Holland.
Is there a cat in the games ever?
I don't know.
There's not one in the first one. Is there one in the fourth?
The game community is just like, why is there a fucking cat? That's nothing to do with the game.
I want to play as a cat in my next game, okay?
The cat swinging from.
That was
It's hilarious.
That makes you think about the after credits scene. I thought maybe that was jumping the shark. I was like, why would they bring a cat on this adventure? Like maybe if they brought up a joke like, maybe like I wonder how my cat's doing at home again. Like man, maybe
Maybe we should just bring it on our adventures.
full on cat carrier backpack.
That cat's gonna get shot in the head.
They have this tragic scene where Mark Wahlberg's crying over his cat.
Everybody has plot armor except the cat.
I think it'd be funny if everybody had no plot armor except for the cat. Like it's one of those old-fashioned cartoons where like the baby's like walking around like some deadly area and everything is bad going on around him.
Bullets
but like,
flying around
like
the
just
cat.
nothing happens.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you guys think of the female characters in this movie?
Ooh, twist villain. She kind of came up out of nowhere. She killed the big boss, and now she's the big boss. So that showed that the goons were not loyal. I mean, I guess they're just searching for treasure, so there is no loyalty. That's the theme of the movie.
I wish, like, not everybody was like in it for the money. Maybe like something like maybe if there was power involved, but I don't know. I guess there's power with money, but like everybody's just like, I'm doing it for the money. You doing it for me? Yeah. Oh, you're doing it for me too. Oh, okay.
That's true. Nobody is
I was-
like has
What
good
was it?
morals.
I was mentioning this at the
entirely.
very beginning, but like, of this podcast thing is there's this whole like theme of like we can't trust anybody and we need to work together, and they keep bringing up the fact that they can't trust each other a lot more. I like it got to the point where I was like, I get it. Like you don't trust and you know, there had to be like 5 backstabbings throughout this movie.
There was a lot.
It was like that Mr. Meeseeks. Like, you were gonna backstab me. Well, he was gonna backstab me.
Yeah.
I guess seeing Sully's progression through it, like at
Yeah.
first he was gonna leave Tom in the auction house to get arrested. He's like, "Sorry, kid, you gotta find your own way out." And then like later on, when they're in the hell of the church, like the catacombs type deal, it's like, oh, Sully's gonna come all the way down here just so. And then he drops the key, and it's kind of like. Maybe that's a little bit building towards that trust. He's showing the like, okay, he's growing a bit, and then at the very end, okay, goodbye, Gold.
The whole time he
It
was
makes
looking
it
down
satisfying when they're fighting together on the boat.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, so there's the backstory with that. What's her name? When they're in the tunnels.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the female
Kate
characters'
Cat.
names.
I just called her Goth Girl because of makeup, but
She's
looks
not
like-
goth.
She looks like that.
Yo, she kept saying how much she wanted to kill herself.
What?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm like, I don't remember that. Oh, so like Tom Holland asks her, "Why are you Indiana Jones?" And then she's like, "Oh well, I love to adventure, and one time I found a statue in a river, and showed it to her dad, and then her dad just sold it instead of going to a museum." So I'm like, is that like? Does she want to bring it to a museum, or is she doing it all for the money? And like, how is her worse than Tom Holland? Because Tom Holland's not gonna bring it to a museum, is he? He never said he was.
Secret crossover. Her dad was Indiana Jones, and he was all like, "It belongs in a museum." And then
No, but he sold it for money. He didn't give it to the museum.
oh,
Yeah, that's what he said. And then up and left, parent and her.
And I'm assuming that she was heartbroken by that. But she never brings up a museum ever. She's just doing it.
That's true.
No one brings up their intentions.
No, there's no
It's
like
all just
real.
for the money. It's
And
all for
nobody
the money.
says what they're gonna do with the money. Mark Wahlberg says
He briefly mentions 50-50. What are you gonna do with all that money, kid?
He doesn't
there's
say
no
50-50.
answers.
He's like, you get 10%.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you gonna do with 10% of this money? But like,
So
what
it's
is
like-
Mark Wahlberg gonna do with 90% of this money?
so. It's like you want to see. I mean, I don't know if it's everybody, but I wanted to see Nathan Drake find the ships because like that was his lifelong goal. But then like, was he gonna do with it? And then by the end of the movie, it doesn't even matter. But there's no like reason for us to root for him other than it's his lifelong dream.
In the games, I don't believe. Of course, I've only played the first one, but I don't think Nathan Drake had much of a motivation aside from just getting like the gold. You know.
You have no idea who you partnered with.
What else aren't you telling me?
The victor spoils.
But he doesn't seem to care at the end of the game as much about the gold as you know Sully does in this movie, or you know he definitely feels like, you know, if he was in Sully's case at the end of this movie where he had to choose between saving his friend and throwing out the gold, he would have chosen his friend pretty quickly.
Your brother believed that there was a final piece.
Well, you know what my brother said?
If Tom Holland would have took the ladder to that postcard sooner, they could have avoided that whole mess, right?
Yeah.
So
I was
like,
thinking, why couldn't he? Okay, I guess maybe the flame like makes the letters. Because I was thinking, like, why doesn't he just hold it up to a light? Like, maybe a little too
But like
cliche.
at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah,
his
they have the
brother,
letter.
that's
Yeah.
like established as a code that they definitely do. So like,
why wouldn't he have tried that before?
yeah. He didn't try it on any of the letters afterwards, did he?
No,
You didn't
he's like,
see
it's
him
gotta
try.
be this one, the one that says there's something you're not seeing.
You know, he's gonna get another one, and it's gonna be like, I'm in a prison in Cuba or something like that. Please send help.
Last week they stabbed me 3 times in the ribs and cut off my pinky finger. Please help. Are you getting these?
Do not trust Sully. He left me for dead.
I'm alive, if you're wondering.
Just like at the very beginning of the movie when he meets Sully, he's like, "Oh, I know who you are." You know.
because he wrote in the letter at the end, he was like, I haven't gotten a letter from him in 2 years. Wasn't it like a once in every maybe his brother was recovering from getting stabbed.
Because his brother sends out a letter at the very end, so I guess maybe he used up all his letters and now he had to wait 2 years.
He used up all his invisible ink.
Yeah, it's like the free phone call after you get arrested, but it's
Wait, if you're in a prison, why would you even go? Why would you even hassle with the invisible ink? Wouldn't you just write on it? Hey, I'm in a. I guess the prison guards would read it.
Yeah, they would read it.
Well, no, never mind. I guess he was like shot a couple years later. Okay, that explains why he didn't send any cards in those 2 years, because he was being put to prison.
There was some clever stuff in that movie. Like when Nathan Drake gave that girl the wrong coordinates. That was cool.
I liked that.
Because I thought he was just falling asleep with that like an idiot.
Fully trusted her, yeah.
I like the fact.
And I was gonna yell at him.
That they didn't go through with.
I was gonna yell at the screen.
Hey, Nathan, idiot!
I like the fact that they didn't follow through with the whole him being in love with her and like. They could have easily made it like at the end of the movie they fall in love and learn to trust. Like it seemed like one of those setup like these characters are gonna get together by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
type of situations.
I didn't feel it.
No,
I
felt like
and then there was the whole dance part.
Like
the
the dance. The first time he sees her, Mark Wahlberg looks at him and is like, "Don't you dare think about it," which is like kind of the cliche.
It seemed like
line.
him and the black chick banged before.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tom Holland's always.
I was gonna say Tom Holland
Drake is
looked
always
more
like
lovey eyes at Joe, the black girl, because he's like, that girl is totally flirting with me. Meanwhile, he wasn't like that with. How did I forget her name?
I don't know. It like from like when he looks at her and then Sully's like, "Oh, don't you dare think about it. We can't trust her." And then later they're in the rave and they do the dance scene together. Then they fight together. Then she drowns and he has to save her.
Okay, yeah.
And
maybe they're saving their love interest for this next movie.
maybe.
probably.
Oh yeah.
She definitely was the love interest, but it just wasn't.
I'm just happy that like it didn't feel like they were forcing a love.
Yeah,
like, they kind of like
agree.
let it slide and like.
Yeah.
They definitely could have had him bang while they were in that hotel room.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
But
Maybe it was off screen. You know, he wasn't wearing
They
a
were
shirt.
sleeping in the same bed.
I didn't get a glimpse at his feet, but I didn't see any socks. So I mean, it's all skeptical at this point, right?
I'm glad the romance wasn't fully developed.
Yeah.
I do like how it wasn't super backstabby either at the end. She looks up and sees the helicopter and the ship, and she knows that, they didn't get away with it. They're not carrying a giant ship anymore. So obviously she's not just driving around in this boat, and she totally misses 2 giant flying ships in the back.
He's like, driving around, where is everybody? Hasn't looked up.
She looks and sees the helicopter. And it's like,
Looks up, just falling towards her.
Yeah.
Some pig.
Guess I'll keep on living.
We should probably end this soon.
Concluding thoughts.
Yeah.
Sex bad, treasure hunting good.
Well, we've spoiled the vast majority of the movie, but if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth the watch.
Should we give it a rating?
Yes. Okay. Everybody, go around and give it like a out of 10, and say what you think of it.
We all quietly think for ourselves and then show our cards at once.
That's something out of 10.
No peer pressure if one of us has an 8 and the rest have a 2.
Nah.
Okay.
We're all free thinking individuals.
Okay.
Critically
Ready?
I got my number locked in. No matter
Hold
what
out
you
your
guys
number. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
9. We got a 9, 2 7s, and a 6.
This is an 8.
What?
Sorry, I'm an
nice.
animation.
This.
I'm an animation major, not a math.
not a counter.
Not a counting
Not an accountant.
person.
I'm leaning on 6 or 7. It's a fun action adventure movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking like this feels like you know, the average like fun action movie, but it has elements that make it a little bit more than that. But I definitely wouldn't call it like a 9 out of 10 or anything like that. To
What
me.
did you say?
What?
What's your rating?
Oh, a 6. I said a 6. Like this didn't feel like a
6.5.
masterpiece, or that it was like saying
Did you
anything
change
powerful.
yours?
And I don't know if I would go back and watch it again, in anytime soon.
No.
You know.
I wouldn't go back and rewatch it.
But I would suggest it and be like, this is a better video game movie than, you know, your average video game movie.
I agree.
Should we put an average of all 4 of our numbers on the screen?
How much did you get?
Yeah.
7.
779.
8.
Oh, you switched it to an 8?
Oh, it was an 8.
Well, you started out with the 4.
The 4 and the 4.
Which is not how people
the average
usually
is
do
7
it.
because it's 6, 7, 7, 8. So
I'm gonna say 6.5.
Okay, 7.
7, 7, 8, 6. So just
That's
21. It's 7.
it's 7.
It's 7.
6,
Oh, it is
8,
7, yeah.
Yeah, because 8 and 6 would average out to a 7,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
3 7s makes a 7.
Oh, okay. What's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts?
Yeah.
The reason I gave it an 8, it was just so enjoyable. Like, I'm trying to think, cinematography was okay. It was still eye candy, all that's like combat choreography. One big thing that I think about combat choreography in modern films is I always think to myself, is the combat choreography creative enough? And this one was exaggerated. I guess it was a game movie, but it was still very, very fun. The only reason I bump it down a bit is one, Tom Holland feels like Tom Holland Wahlberg when we brought that up, and 2, the ending, just because like the after credit scene is just a little bit too much. But it's still, the entire thing is satisfying from the beginning to the middle to the end. And, satisfying, enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very good.
Jason?
I gave it a 7. If I didn't laugh as much as I did, it would have been a 6. But it entertained me, and there wasn't a second where I was like not taken away from like, oh, this better end, or I wasn't bored at all. So
Yeah.
I agree with what all you guys said. I wouldn't really necessarily go back and watch it again, but it's a fun adventure movie that you can always go to have, you know, just live an adventure for a little while. And as far as video game movies go, it's better than Tomb Raider.
I feel like if you didn't go, it would be hard to convince you that it wasn't as bad as you thought it would be.
That's very true. I'm very
Yeah.
stubborn when it comes to that, but I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
So,
I said 6 out of 10 because, you know, if an average movie is 5, which is a movie that, like, you know, I don't feel insulted by watching, but I also don't feel like I gained anything from watching, then this movie would be a 6 just because, like, it feels like an average movie that I probably might forget after a year, you know, but it definitely gave me a couple laughs, a couple fun action scenes.
Did you fart?
You're not supposed to say that. The microphone might not.
Well,
pick
it was
up.
like it was like at that point where it very well could not have been. It wasn't an obvious one. I had to bring it up.
I got. We gotta end this video so I can go take a dump. Yeah, but the movie gave me more than I was expecting. So.
so red. Oh, you.
Oh, me.
Alright, that was the first episode of the Critically Acclaimed
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Feel free to watch the next one if it's available. We might have a playlist.
Yeah. Tell your friends, your moms, your cats.
And your grandparents, because they're retired, they're bored. Some of them want to watch movies and they don't know what to watch.
Hey, somebody stop that camera.
So pig.
See Uncharted so Caden could get Uncharted.
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 Mark Fortune.
I got it. There you go.